Yeah, spare a thought please for our patriot Christian Jayda Fransen. This is the Jayda Fransen that was retweeted by President Trump. Hardly surprising really, since they're both Christians. They both have similar views on morality, on the state of European culture today. This woman, I saw a picture of her the other day and I was really quite dismayed, put it that way. As with our other patriot, he was flung in jail on a premise, falsely, as it's been proved now. She's lost loads of weight. I don't want to put a picture on her. I don't want to, you know, I know what you ladies are like about your vanity and your looks. You like to look your best. And I don't want to pull you down at all. This woman, without a shadow of a doubt, is one of the very few people who are brave enough and clever enough and knowledgeable enough to speak the truth of what's going on. Our kids are getting raped and battered and murdered all over this bloody country, and all the government paid people are just bought and corrupt. It's showed that at Rotherham. You know, at Rotherham, where 1,400 girls were abused, you know, it's still going on. Do you know why it's still going on? Still going on. They know they're virtually bulletproof. These people that are doing these attacks are virtually now, they're like a new aristocracy. You know, oh, don't say anything about these people, or they'll call me a racist. It might affect my job. And there he is, spitting at a Christian woman, probably the same age as him. And she thinks these disrespectful supremacist clan who've been chopping people's heads off, invading people's countries and attacking their own kids and their own people for 1,400 years, they think they're the master race. That's what it says in their damn book. They're the master race. You are, quote this book, you are the rightful masters of the earth. All others are, quote, animals, dirty kuffar, the scum of the earth, perverts. You should invade them, rob them, rape them, take their kids as slaves. You can do all this. As Tommy Robinson said, he's another brave patriot, as Tommy Robinson said, if it wasn't for the fact he had a load of cash, a load of support of people around the world, you know, he would have gone down for an offence that she did, that Jayda did and Paul did. Just the fact that it cost it, he actually says on video quite openly, he thanks everybody very much because he had two of the top barristers. They compare kind of sample cases. Well, in this case, on this offence, he got this. You know, he got a fine. You know, etc. This is how they argue it on test cases. If it wasn't for that £60,000 cash which he had to pay to these up front to these barristers and legal eagles, Tommy would have gone to jail, just like Paul, just like Jayda. He said this. You know, I must say, you know, if it wasn't for Paul and Jayda and Tommy to some extent, I mean, God, where would we be now? They're already regarded as a master race. We have become Sharia compliant. Here we've got a Metropolitan Police officer trying to entrap her into saying something very bad, and just a few seconds ago these two guys at the left there, who are, I believe, more senior officers probably, looking on, hoping to entrap her, hoping to arrest her. This woman and Paul, like it or lump it, they have took on this challenge of trying to expose these terrible crimes. I mean, I did a video before that there's a guy a good few miles away from me, and he was murdered. A 16-year-old lad was murdered by being stabbed 3 times. You know, and they let him off. And, you know, how many Christians are there in America? How many Christians are there still? Probably secret Christians that don't talk about it at work and probably don't like going to church. But in the heart of hearts, I think most of us have got to admit that without the Christian Crusaders pushing them out of France, pushing them out of Spain, pushing these barbarians out of Italy, there would never have been a Christian Europe. The early Islamic Empire were intending to push all the way through to Sweden. They're already planning this, because they can't make anything, they can't do very much at all. The only other way they can get wealth is to steal it. It's much the same today, isn't it? You know, their ideology is very backward even today. I mean, there's not a single country following this ideology, as far as I know. There's not a single one that makes a motorbike or makes in the slightest bit technological, but they're obsessed with the smartphones because they can watch porn on them. Yeah, we know how it is. So I'm just a word to other Christians, whether you follow it quietly, whether you go to church twice on a Sunday, like some do, whether you're a Baptist or whatever, whether you're Yazidi. Yazidis were also persecuted. Christians are routinely persecuted in the whole of the Islamic world because they're seen as being third-class citizens. They really are. I mean, in Egypt recently, there were 2 churches blown up by this gang, by this disrespectful supremacist gang. As we know, in 1915, the Turkish Nazi Empire, because that's what it was, the Turkish Nazi Empire of 1915, rounded up and committed genocide on 1.5 million Armenian Christians. These were a bit like the Yazidis, you know, small houses, what have you. But of course, they were also very clever, and they were very envied, just like on the Arabian Peninsula, how the Christians and the Jews were envied by Monster Mo, who is great with a knife. I'm just thinking, if you Christians, whatever your denomination, whatever your personal beliefs, you know, that's up to you entirely. If you could see your way to perhaps having a word with Theresa May, having a word with kind Christian President Trump, although it's a bit out of his jurisdiction, I know, or even, I'm sure, I don't think Jayda or Paul would mind me saying, if you could even say a prayer for them, I'm sure they'd be most appreciative, or say a prayer for them, or send them a couple of dollars. Okay, see you guys.